Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. In today's video we're going to take a close look at the Powkiddy. It's the RGB20SX. You know those namings? It makes no sense whatsoever. But Powkiddy is a brand that I've reviewed so many times. And the consistency of quality, still not the biggest fan of this company in general. Because sometimes you have amazing products and sometimes you have the weirdest crap they released or labeled. So this thing is also called the RGB20SX, dedicated for, I think what I understand of, for Shmup games. So let's say the resolution of the display is so weird that it makes this thing kind of cool. And that's what Powkiddy does nowadays. When ordering a Powkiddy, you're getting something of a very interesting choice of colors. So I have the translucent black, but yes, the black, blue, orange and the white. Or, I don't know, or is the white translucent? Doesn't matter, we have 4 different options. And in the past I choose the orange, but I now want to have the translucent black. And you know, the buttons in the middle looks kind of like a happy face, but you can just even change it out with some sticker they're going to give you to make this thing like an extra happy face. I wouldn't even do that on this particular model because, yeah, I love this translucent one. You should pick an, let's say, an orange one and then slap the sticker on it if you want to. So, of course, they're having the tiny toilet paper manual, not like many explanation, but enough. For example, over here we have the quick combinations. It just actually shows how you can quit the game, if you want to change out the volume, how you can make a quick load, quick save and stuff like that. It's a different configuration that we have seen with different handhelds of Powkiddy or Emulator, but so far, yeah, some basic explanations about how this thing actually works. Okay, so let's chit chat about the overall quality. So this is one of those like Powkiddy devices that it's good quality. And I can tell you that I already mentioned in the beginning of the video, the consistency, it's getting better now. So the weird thing is that they went to, let's say, this very strange huge screen. Okay, powering on, you can hold the button over here. You can also find the reset button. We're having over here the second micro SD card. Mostly, yeah, you have different kind of version where you can get without an SD card or a bigger one. It's automatically booting up with the Jello OS, or that's actually the, let's say, software that comes with it. So that's absolutely great because that is a great compatibility with emulators. At the bottom we're having 2 USB-C, one for charging, one for the OTG port, and headphone jack out. At the side we're finding the better said, let's say the micro SD card for the OS. Then of course the volume control physical, I think that is absolutely great. And we even comes with an HDMI out. At the back we're finding the shoulder buttons, and let's lower that thing. Come. Yep, there we go. And next up we're having the shoulder buttons, and they also did a lot of changing out in the last couple of handhelds. You can just see that the angle is slightly different, and what actually is great about this, you can just reach it in so much easier. The size is great, and when you're just holding, let's say, the shoulder buttons, it's micro switched underneath, so it's like direct contact, not a lot of travel. Over here we're finding some more information about the 5000 mAh battery that's in the inside, a LiPo version, and I must say that the overall quality, it's absolutely, like say, so much better. In the middle we're having the speaker already, like noticed some audio coming out of it, and I can tell you the audio, I'm more like a big fan of 2 speakers to have more like a better stereo effect, but the single speaker in the middle doesn't really disappoint. At the bottom we're finding the D-pad, and the D-pad is absolutely great on this thing. So when you're looking at it away, it doesn't have a curve, it's like a flat D-pad, but the touch and the membrane underneath is absolutely a very nice feel. Then we're having more like the Switch clone joysticks over here at the bottom. Have also the click, select, start, the FN button, and over here we're having the ABHY. And the ABHY button also here we're finding a very nice, let's say, long travel. I personally can really appreciate the overall controls. But let's the D-pad, overall, let's just chat about it more, because I was very surprised by how comfortable it actually was. Alright, so I can tell you, holding this thing in your hand is such a weird experience looking at the screen, because it's so weirdly shaped. So we have all kinds of stuff that can actually be played over here. We're having the Sega Genesis 32X, the old school Genesis, Famicom, you name it. There is so much that we can try and play. So these things are getting more powerful. So the play supportable emulation and Sega Saturn, you know, stuff like that. N64 is getting better. N64 we're still not there yet for like 100% compatibility. MAME, we're do a lot of like all kinds of cool shmup and beat 'em ups. But when it comes to that killer instinct games like those will not run. We're having PlayStation 1 on this device. And of course we're having a Sony PlayStation Portable. But yeah, this is not a handheld you should really play some PlayStation Portable. And I mean, when you're just going to be booting it up, it's going to be looking weird or completely stretched out, or we're just going to have like massive like bars. I will show you what I mean. So this is what I actually mean when it comes to, let's say, playing some PlayStation Portable games, where the emulation is quite good on a lot of games. Yeah, the thing is, you know, we're having like huge black bars due of the resolution. I personally prefer to play like this, because otherwise you're going to get this very strange shaped, like stretched overall display going on. But you know what I wonder about this? What happens if you're going to be plugging this thing in an HDMI television? If you're going to be plugging this thing into, like say, a monitor, in my case, or a television, yeah, you don't have any signal because you need to get out of the game or maybe even reboot the device itself. Okay, so let's do that first. Let's get back into the menu. Yeah, and that's another thing. Yeah, PlayStation Portable, man, it's also such a pain in the ass if you need to get out of the menu itself. So let's give this thing a hard reset and let's get into the software. So this thing has been plugged in. Let's see if we're going to get any signal going on. There we go. Display has been disabled, and the Jelly OS is going to be booted up into the monitor. But let's play another PlayStation Portable game and let's check out how the resolution is on the monitor itself. So if you're going to be booting up into the TV mode, you can just see that it has the normal resolution going on. It's going to be stretched out. There is no, like say, upscaling going on because this device isn't that powerful to do that. But it's kind of cool to see that we can actually play it. But let's see what happens if you're going to be plugging it out. Nothing else. Nope, just shows no HDMI signal. Going to be plugging in. It's automatically boot up into the device itself. So it should be like booting up into the game itself now. Or do we have like a general problem now? Nope, took some time, but seems to be working just fine. You can just clearly see that this handheld is not made for the device like this. And the reason why is because look at how ugly everything is. Like it's so much stretched to an like in different strange way. Everything is like so much taller when it comes to the characters. It's weird, man. But again, you can maybe fix it when it comes to, let's say, an overall, let's say, resolution fix, but you will get the two black bars. So what you can maybe do is going to settings, and with the game settings you can just mess around with it. Here we're having the game aspect ratio set to like 1:1, but here we can maybe mess around with it and get some different better results. But again, I just wanted to showcase out of the box how it actually works and how it looks. But let's move on to some other stuff like Sega 32X. Can we actually play here and how does it actually work out? Let's check out some Virtual Fighter. Yeah! So with the power devices like this have, you can just play all kinds of 8-bit and 16-bit games, and even 32X, like the Sega 32X. Absolutely a very cool, let's say, overall experience, man. And I can tell you, on the display itself, it looks so weird. Yeah, absolutely. Reset. So let's move on to some 16-bit, and the reason I wanted to check out some Desert Strike is to see how the navigation goes when it comes to the helicopter and the D-pad. I can tell you it's a great overall combination. That's something that Powkiddy seems to have been done correctly on many devices that they released in the last time, or the last couple of times, that they're having an amazing overall D-pad configuration. There was an issue many times when it comes to the past, but they managed to fix that too. And again, like it's going to be stretched out to a different level, but it sounds kind of weird to say, but it doesn't really bother me at this point, particularly with this game. The problem I've noticed, if you're going to see in some of the lists and you're going to be adding a lot of games, it's going to be quite difficult to search your particular game. Pressing Y will give you the option to search and to filter your list. So that's absolutely amazing. A very easy way to play. Okay, another thing what I wanted to showcase, pressing X, here we can force or going into the advanced game options and force it in different aspect ratios. So let's say I'm going to be putting it in 60:9 for showcases, and when you're going to be booting up the game itself, it will not use the full screen, it will force it into 60:9. And here we can mess around with it and play actually the games if you want to. So let's say I want to go back, I want to change it back, and what you can do is advanced games option again. Here we can go to the say 1:1, and here we can boot it up, and it will now uses or utilizes the full screen. So you can mess around for, let's say, quite some time with different filters and everything. And that's one of the things I just love about this handheld. It gives us an, let's say, different, let's say, overall experience when it comes to, like, say, messing around with the display. But again, it's not going to be the best way to play. So Sonic Advance, of course. Okay, so let's get into some gaming, and yeah man, it's such a weird thing. Still, I keep saying it in this video, if you're going to put it on this resolution, it's sometimes not really bothering me with some particular games, but everything looks so weird and stretched out. Where I've like seen a lot of, let's say, stretched out devices do with the 16:9 displays they were using, and now having a different like overall weird thing going on. But where this thing is actually made for, let's say, shmups. Let's try a couple of them. So this is actually where the device will shine its best. It's where we're going to be playing some shmups. Doesn't help my gameplay at all, but you're getting the point. So this is absolutely one of those very cool ways to play. Next game. But let's move on to some Neo Geo, and yep, we still have this weird resolution going on the display. And again, for fighting games, all the characters are looking a little bit taller than normal, but besides that, it's not a bad thing. So the D-pad, okay, so let's do a quick test about this. Or this is like a personal handicap, but where this thing is not the best D-pad I've ever filled, it is a very pleasant one. Yeah, I think it's more like a personal handicap over here. So let's do the super move. Alright. So when it comes to playing fighting games, it's absolutely a great D-pad. Not my favorite ones out there, but also, again, not like a very bad one too. But let's move on to some PlayStation gaming, and yep, when it comes to PlayStation gaming, I really suck at this by the way. So you're just going to be needing some of the, let's say, shoulder buttons, and I can tell you that this is going to be an okay overall, let's say experience. It's not like my most favorite way to play, because the back buttons are like very easy to reach, but I do really need to try this out. Let's check out if I can use them. Right. There we go. Yeah. Man, oh man. Just wanted to see if we can actually play this. But emulation performance on PlayStation 1 is just like perfect. We've seen like many different devices like years ago that has struggles with PlayStation 1, but we've reached the point with these handhelds that PlayStation 1 can be played on native resolution without any problem whatsoever. Another system I normally don't really test or can enjoy is the Nintendo DS, and I can tell you this seems to be quite overall actually a pleasant experience. We can switch between different modes, so let's say we're having one single screen, we can just switch in here, switch between the two displays with the back buttons, or we can just actually play like this if you're having games that are needing both of the screens. So when it comes to the touch, it's going to be different of course, because we don't have a touch in here or in the display itself. Pressing the right joystick will give you the menu, and oh boy, that is very difficult to read. And pressing select struck will bring you back to the menu itself. So the overall Nintendo DS performance is quite nice. Your N64 on these devices will always be an, let's say, hit or miss. Just let's start off with some Cruis'n USA to start off the benchmark. And the same result will be with GoldenEye. If this game doesn't run great, all the other ones will also run really horrible. Okay, over here we're having the brake, acceleration seems to be on the L2. And now combined with, let's say, the controls over here, this is a quite okay way to play. I can tell you that I really need to put some force on the button because of the resistance of the micro switch. But yeah, when it comes to this N64 combined with the back buttons, no. Besides the emulation, the performance of the thing really sucks, but besides that, you know. Well, let's move on to some other gaming, because I know there are some games are actually playable. One of them is Bug Bumble, for example. So when it comes to N64, mentioned before is that this is going to be a hit or miss, and Bug Bumble is one of those games that seems to be running okay. Alright, so we're also needing the back button over here. For like Cruis'n USA, we had the acceleration on the back button. That was not a pleasant experience, where with Bug Bumble we just need to press it sometimes for shooting, and that seems to be working just fine. But here you can just see that overall performance of some N64 is quite good. Okay, so we don't really need to do a teardown because it's a see-through case. But besides, I just wanted to showcase how you need to be opening it up. So what I did notice that they didn't put any, let's say, special stickers on for warranty, blah 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 blah. That's interesting, a very interesting choice. So let's see if we can open it up, or do I need to remove a couple of screws? Yeah, there's one single one over here. You know that always happens. Alright, let's be very gentle. So the battery is double-sided over here at the bottom part. It's not very hot at this point. So we're going to have a 5000 milliamp battery. So one of the things I really love that they're doing is that we can replace them if you need to. So it's a different connector that I've seen before, but you can just remove it, order yourself a new one. Most of the time you can just look at the code itself and replace it. It's a very basic PCB, but you can see over here everything looks kind of clean. And here we're finding the Rockchip, the 3566, and this is a Rockchip chip. They are using a lot of the new generation, or at least this generation of devices. So at this point I didn't really need any, let's say, prior tools to open it up, just like removing 6 screws, and that's it. So when it comes to that, Powkiddy did an amazing job with it, if you need to do some replacing of the display or the battery or whatsoever. Powkiddy did it again with the RGB20SX, a very strange looking device. We have seen it before from Powkiddy, but this overall quality is quite good. I really enjoy myself playing even on, let's say, the weird resolution and some older systems. So yeah, I've shown you also where you can just find, let's say, his limitations, but for 8-bit, 16-bit, this is absolutely a great way to play. And if you're going to play some shmups, oh yeah, this is going to be absolutely maybe the shmup heaven handheld that you can get. Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it would be great to see you in the next video.